Welcome, crypto fam, to the #1 daily Bitcoin pod. And congratulations to all my long-term Bitcoin hodlers, because Bitcoin broke out, reaching a new 20-month high, almost touching 46,000. And we're still at roughly 45,000 at the time of the live stream. So make some noise as we're starting off 2024 proper, to say the least. In today's show, I'll be breaking down the latest Bitcoin technical analysis. And this just in, Jim Cramer says the Bitcoin ETF will be a sell the news event. Very interesting. Means go long on Bitcoin, right? Also, we'll be discussing CNBC says the SEC could notify spot Bitcoin ETF issuers as soon as this week if they have been cleared to launch. In fact, Reuters leak, we can get the approval today or tomorrow. I'll be breaking all this down for you. We'll also be discussing Bitcoin-focused company shares surge and pre-market as Bitcoin breaks 45,000. We'll be discussing the performance of MicroStrategy and Coinbase. Also in today's show, Grayscale's latest spot Bitcoin ETF amendment omits authorized participants. That's right. Also, BlackRock is seeding their spot Bitcoin ETF with 10 million. Bitwise is seeding theirs with 200 million. Hashdex 2.8 million. WisdomTree 2.5 million. So the funds are starting to flow. Let's go. Also in today's show, Bitcoin can soar to $50,000 this week, according to Matrixport in their latest prediction. We'll also be discussing Vaneck director says people tend to underestimate the long-term impact of the spot Bitcoin ETFs. Also quoting the high priest of Bitcoin, Max Keiser, the God candle, a $100,000 uptick in Bitcoin is in play. It'll shift the global axis to wealth and power in one tick. We'll be discussing the catalyst for this $100,000 uptick. God candle, send it. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more in today's show. Welcome to the entire Crypto News Alerts fam. We greatly appreciate the support. How many of you were on the 14-hour live pump watch? Which ended this morning and started last night. Let me know. It was pretty epic. If you're new to the channel, be sure to smash that subscribe button to receive daily premium Crypto News Alerts every single day, just like this. Also, be sure to smash the like and hit the bell icon to turn on all notifications, as it helps out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm, helps get more eyeballs on the channel so we can reach our goal of 100,000 subs alongside that $100,000 Bitcoin price action. Also, today is pod episode number 1510. JV been going strong for 5 years. Today is January 2nd, 2024, and we got a lot to cover. So let's dive right in. Kick it off with our market watch as we do each and every day. You can see Bitcoin in the green, back above 45,200. We almost touched roughly 46,000 in the middle of the night. We're up 0.2% for the day. Ether's also up 1.2%, trading just shy of 2,400, while BNB, Solana, Cardano, and AVAX are pulling back and in the red. And to get a more broader perspective on the monthly, Bitcoin is now up almost 15%, Ether 10%. So Bitcoin's outpaced in ETH. Let's go. XRP up less than 2%, BNB 36%, Solana 71%, Cardano 53%, and AVAX roughly 85%. And checking out coinmarketcap.com, let's get a refresh for the latest numbers. You can see the market cap is now 1.73 trillion. Bring it. We have 82 billion in volume for the past 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance back on the rise at 51.1%, with the Ether dominance at 16.5%. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers of the past 24 hours, we have Astar leading the pack, followed by Maker and ICP. Below that, Flux, Hedera, and Thorchain. Now, which altcoins, if any, are you most bullish on during this bull run? Let me know in the comments right down below. And checking out the crypto bubbles for a visual perspective of the overall crypto market. You can see on the daily, many of the alts are pulling back and in the red, but we still got a handful in the green: ASTR, Maker, CFX, Rune, HBAR, ICP, WeMix, SUI, and Ordi. And zooming out on the monthly, virtually everything is in the green, minus a handful in the red. Major gainers: Bonk up almost 200%, Sats almost 250%, ICP 213%, BitTorrent 151%, SCI 164%, Injective 111%. Can you say alt season. Near 95%, Mina 102%, Stacks 93%, Woo 83%, HBAR 55%. Just major gains overall. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, we're currently rated a 71, back in greed, or we've been actually stuck in greed for a minute. Yesterday, 65, last week a 71, and last month a 73 in greed. So there you have it. Are you enjoying 2024? Thus far? Let me know. Well, keep the comments coming. We appreciate it, family. But let's now dive into our Bitcoin technical analysis. Check out the charts where the Bitcoin price action is likely to take us next. Let's go. Bitcoin hit a new 20-month high on January 2nd as excitement returned to the crypto markets in the Asia trading session. Here you're looking at the Bitcoin 1-hour candle chart. Now, I must tell you, all the charts are looking so lit right now. 4-hour chart, daily chart, 1-hour chart, 15-second chart, and everything in between. Data from Cointelegraph and TradingView showed the Bitcoin price strength building as the New Year holiday period ended amid renewed excitement over the U.S. first spot Bitcoin ETF, gathering steam to hit almost 46,000 on Bitstamp. The exact number was 45,922. Rumors over the ETF abounded, these including the potential decision coming in advance of the approval window, which begins January 4th. 2 more days, fam. Traders were in two minds about the source of the latest Bitcoin price upside. Here's what Crypto Tony shared. Bitcoin update broke up from the triangle I shared yesterday, quicker than expected. My main target from a few weeks ago is back on the cards. All this is in anticipation of the ETF. Now, Bitcoin is trading like an ETF is about to be approved, said Scott Melker. And analyzing the order books, we had Scoo share the following. Bitcoin miner for now, but seeing clips of around 100 BTC getting sold into price. Currently on Binance Spot, average 45,350 versus 100 BTC being bought on Coinbase Spot by some limit buyer. Oh, very interesting. Now, price stalling since the spot selling started, he points out, and no major bloodbath for the Bitcoin shorts, despite gaining up to 10% thus far this year, only 2 days into 2024. Bitcoin nonetheless saw no significant losses from those betting the other way. According to the latest data from CoinGlass, just 38 million worth of Bitcoin shorts have been liquidated on the day at this time of this article being published. Now, Cointelegraph reported on extremely high funding rates across the exchanges, hinting at a broad belief that the ETF would spark upside in advance. Now, cross crypto short liquidations, meanwhile, stood at roughly 62 million, as you can see here from CoinGlass. Scoo nonetheless noted that earlier the shorts had been taken by surprise during the move past 45,000, with perpetual swap traders underprepared for the leg higher, quoting them here. So what is clear here is perp market was mostly underexposed overall to this current move, which is now being driven by spot. So this means with perps trailing, spot price there is going to be a feedback loop of volatility, especially at around $45,000. Let me know if you agree or disagree with some of this analysis. Now, Jim Cramer, I'm not going to play the clip, but it's only a few seconds. Basically, just quote him here. Shout out to the BTC therapist. Jim Cramer says that the Bitcoin ETF will be a sell the news event, and this was a remarkable comeback that was unexpected. Very interesting. We all know what that really means. The God candle is coming. So send it and let's get it. And quoting Max off the back of a tweet from Saylor, who actually shared the same clip of Jim Cramer, he basically wrote, "The most shocking thing I've ever witnessed in 40 years in finance is watching Michael Saylor brilliantly broadcasting the investment case for Bitcoin in terms that all CEOs and CFOs fundamentally understand, and yet still manage to front run this entire industry for years so far. So long live the Giga Chad, and shout out to the high priest, Max Keiser." Now, another mainstream report shared on the news via CNBC. They say the SEC can notify spot Bitcoin ETF issuers as soon as this week if they have been cleared to launch. So launch time is amongst us. Let me know when you feel we'll likely get this approval. And keep the pumpage of comments. Keep smashing the likes. We now got almost 800 people on the live stream. Let's keep it moving. We still got a lot to share. So let's dive into our next story of the day. Thank you, Joe, for subscribing subscribing to the #1 daily Bitcoin pod. But now let's discuss the latest with MicroStrategy and Coinbase stock, which have both been surging off the back of the Bitcoin price action, killing it right now. The share prices of Bitcoin-focused MicroStrategy and crypto exchange Coinbase have surged during the pre-market trading session, following a Bitcoin price rise above 45 G's, baby, and the Bitcoin ETF deadline being January 10th, and rumors saying we can get the approval this week. Now, shares of Coinbase and MSTR saw gains of 6% and 9%, respectively, during the pre-market trading session today, January 2nd. Coinbase stock rose 6.4% to just shy of $185, while MicroStrategy shares rose by 9.14% to just shy of $690. Yeah, MSTR has been killing it. The pre-market trading session typically occurs in the hours leading up to the 9:30 a.m. Eastern market open in New York each trading day, allowing investors to buy and sell stocks ahead of the open market. Now, my question for y'all, how many of you are invested in stocks and own a piece of Coinbase or MicroStrategy? Please do let me know. Now, the pre-market trading session typically occurs in the hours leading up, which I just mentioned. Coinbase shares price increased by 36% over the past month, not too shabby, and nearly 420%. Happy 420, fam. On the year after a forgetful 2022. However, the share price of America's first publicly listed crypto exchange is still around 46% below the all-time high, which it hit of $343 set after its launch in 2021. Likewise, MicroStrategy shares have surged by over 25% over the past month and 372% now over the past year. And they are currently 8% down from their 2021 high of $750. So interestingly, both MicroStrategy stock and Coinbase stock have been outpacing Bitcoin. I think in the past year, Bitcoin is up probably roughly 170%. Now, other crypto-centered public companies such as PayPal and Block remained in the red during the pre-market trading session, despite a bullish momentum in the Bitcoin market. However, that can change quickly, clearly. The recent change in the share price of crypto-centered companies contrasts the year-to-end route of most crypto-focused companies, with many seeing their share prices tumble amid wider market corrections. The latest price surge of the two major Bitcoin-centered companies is being attributed to the spot Bitcoin ETF approval buzz, which is on everyone's mind right now. MicroStrategy remains the biggest hodler of Bitcoin, just shy of, I think, 200,000 Bitcoin on their balance sheet, which is roughly 1% of the overall circulating supply of Bitcoin, more precisely 0.9%, so almost 1%. And Michael Saylor's goal is to have 5% of the circulating supply of Bitcoin, which means they're looking to buy another million BTC. While Coinbase has been chosen to be a custodian by several institutional giants, including BlackRock. So we know Coinbase is going to be bullish as well, or, BlackRock and the largest asset managers clearly wouldn't be partnering with them as the custodian. So there you go. Let's dive into our next story of the day, discuss the latest with the Grayscale ETF. Shout out KJam for the 420 super. Happy 420 and much love, much respect for supporting the pod. So here we go. Grayscale's latest spot Bitcoin ETF amendment omits authorized participants. Let's go. Crypto asset manager Grayscale has filed an amended application with the US SEC for its Bitcoin ETF without listing their authorized participant details. Wonder why they're keeping it secret. Bloomberg senior ETF analyst Balchunas flagged the amended filing, noting the company had clarified that authorized participants in this proposed ETF could only pay and receive cash for shares. Quoting Balchunas, new Grayscale amendment just dropped. Clear language on cash only, but still no AP named. Just blanks where the name should go. Not sure why, since the SEC wants to see it, and they have had pretty, cocksure about having one. Also, nothing on fee that I could see. That's a big open question too. So that is very interesting. Also, other interesting developments. We had Barry Silbert, the head of Grayscale, recently stepped down. I wonder what's going on there. Authorized participants are financial institutions or companies that can create and redeem shares for an ETF. Balchunas highlighted Grayscale left the names of its authorized participants blank in the amended doc, which I just shared with you. Now, Cointelegraph reported December 29th that 7 companies vying to launch the first US spot ETF products filed the latest versions to form S1 apps on December 29th. I guess that was like 4 or 5 days ago. Fidelity, WisdomTree, and Invesco listed their authorized participants in the new filing. Invesco selected Virtu and JP Morgan, interesting, while WisdomTree and Fidelity listed Jane Street Capital. Now, what's interesting about that is JP Morgan Chase, CEO Jamie the Tapeworm Dimon has been publicly bashing Bitcoin for years, and even more recently, he was testifying like in front of Congress, talking about if he was the government, I'd shut Bitcoin down. Meanwhile, he just partnered with the largest asset manager in the world with Bitcoin. So it goes to show you the fraudsters and hucksters that are at the top. You know what I mean? And shout out to Steven Diaz. I appreciate the super. He says there's no second best. Bitcoin hodl, 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 and go long. Amen, fam. Grayscale indicated in June of 2022. And also, I forgot to mention Jane Street. That's where the infamous scam Bankman Fried and Caroline Ellison officially met. The greatest crypto duo of all time. Grayscale had indicated in June of 2022 it intended to list Jane Street and Virtu Financial as its authorized participants as it looked to convert its Grayscale Bitcoin Trust into an ETF, as he outlines here. And we have, who is this? Elinir Terret. I thought Grayscale announced they would work with Jane Street and Virtu. This was last year, though. That's interesting. Balchunas commented further, indicating that it was unclear why Grayscale had deliberately omitted its authorized participants, while other firms had clarified these details, quoting him here. Yes, and they even tweeted that, of course, they have one, but alls I know, in my Philly accent, it isn't in doc yet, which SEC wants, and until we see, we aren't counting any horse as official. Also, BlackRock, Fidelity, etc., did it. So why not be done with it? That's a good question. Grayscale submitted an amended S3 filing with the SEC December 27th. The same day, Barry Silbert, the CEO of its parent company, Digital Currency Group, announced his resignation from Grayscale's board of directors. The deadline for the SEC to deliver its verdict on the latest filings from prospective Bitcoin ETF issuers is set for January 10th. Next week. Industry experts have been suggesting the SEC could deliver answers to the applying firms by the end of the first week of 2024, which is the same week we're in right now. It can still come today. It can still come by tomorrow. If not, then most likely next week, and they give it a 99% probability that this ETF be approved next week by the deadline, January 10th. But anyways, family, let's dive into our next story of the day and discuss $50,000 this week. I know 90% of you believe we're going to hit this 50,000 target. This is coming from Matrixport. Yeah, so let's break this baby down. And also wanted to point out BlackRock seeding their spot Bitcoin ETF with 10 million. Bitwise is seeding theirs with 200 million. Hashdex seeding theirs with 2.8 million. WisdomTree seeding theirs with 2.5 mil. So the funds are starting to flow, and we're just getting this mofo started. So here's the headline. Bitcoin can soar to 50 Gs this week, according to Matrixport. Matrixport is a leading crypto financial services platform and prime broker for the institutions, forecasting a significant surge of the price of Bitcoin. In their latest investor note, Matrixport suggests that the Bitcoin price can surge to 50 Gs, baby, by the end of the week. Let's go. Their analysis published January 2nd, which is today, under the title Explosive Bitcoin Surge to 50 Gs Looms Large in January, argues that the consolidation observed in Bitcoin's price towards the end of last year sets the stage for a robust start to 2024. Let's get robust, shall we? After the typical mid to end December consolidation, Bitcoin's poised to break out on a robust beginning of the year buying flow. So expect that market cap to soar. A significant factor in this predicted rally is the change in sentiment amongst the institutional investors, contrasting with the bearish outlook of last year. The current market dynamics have created the situation where institutional investors, wary of missing out on potential gains, are expected to invest heavily as soon as the market opens in 2024. So bring it. Let's go. Quoting them here in the report, institutional investors cannot afford to miss out on any potential rally again, and therefore have to buy immediately when the markets open for trading in 2024, expecting an immediate rally that can catch many investors off guard. The potential catalyst for this surge, according to Matrixport, is the anticipation of the approval for the spot Bitcoin ETF, which could be announced sooner than most traders expect. Quoting them again, a potential Bitcoin spot ETF approval can be announced today or tomorrow ahead of most traders' expectations for approval on January 8th, 9th, or the 10th. So there you go. Maybe we get the approval when no one's really expecting it. So it can happen this week. This approval is seen not as a sell the news event, but as a legitimization of Bitcoin as an asset class for institutional portfolios, potentially leading to significant price increases. So contrary to what this sellout just shared, it's a sell the news event, says Jim Cramer. Matrixport is telling you the opposite because they're actually telling you what they believe to be the truth. You know what I mean? Matrixport also points to the decreased availability of Bitcoin on the exchanges as a factor that might amplify this rally. 70% of the outstanding Bitcoins have remained unmoved during the last 12 months, the report observes. So shout out to all my long-term hodlers with the diamond hands, because we ain't letting BlackRock or any of these mofos touching our biddies. Looking ahead, Matrixport referencing the upcoming halving event, April 2024, 3 months out, as another reason for potential supply shortage and consequent price spike. They drew parallels with commodity markets, where forced buying in the face of reluctant selling can lead to dramatic price increases. Furthermore, the report draws attention to historical trends, noting Bitcoin has shown strong performance during the halving cycles, which coincides with the US election cycle. The average return for Bitcoin during the 2020, 2016, and 2012 years was 192%, not too shabby. Matrixport states setting a long-term target of 125,000 per Bitcoin based on their 1 year new high indicator. Finally, the report comments on the current state of the funding rate, which remains elevated, indicating bullish sentiment amongst crypto traders. Quoting them again, this morning, the funding rate is reaching a new high at 66%, the report observes, suggesting that the futures market is exerting upwards pressure on the Bitcoin spot price market. This is how the futures market is squeezing the spot market and will likely lift Bitcoin above our $50,000 price target level for January 2024, which appears reasonably achievable. Amen. We could trade above 50 Gs by the end of the week. What are your thoughts on that sentiment? Do you agree or disagree with Matrixport? Let me know your thoughts in the comments here in the live chat. But anyways, fam, we still got a couple more stories to share with you. Let's discuss the latest with Vaneck with their ETF, and then we'll be discussing the $100,000 God candle, which y'all came here for. So yeah, let's discuss this. The headline reads, Vaneck director says people tend to underestimate the long-term impact of the spot Bitcoin ETFs. Vaneck's director of digital asset strategy, Gaber Gerbax, shared his predictions regarding the long-term impact of the US spot Bitcoin ETFs on X. And I'm going to be sharing here what he said. Let me see if I can minimize this so you can see it a little better. Let me know if that helps. While noting that in his view, people tend to overestimate the initial impact of the US Bitcoin ETFs when he expects to be only a few $100 million in mainly recycled funds, according to the director. Long-term people tend to underestimate the impact of the spot Bitcoin ETFs. People tend to hype the current thing, but remain myopic about the bigger picture. Bitcoin is forcing its own capital market systems and products well beyond the ETF, and that is not priced in. The question is not what BlackRock adopts, but what Bitcoin company is the next BlackRock? If history is any guide, gold is worth studying as a parallel. He then referenced his post made on the 6th, which detailed why the approval of the US spot Bitcoin ETF may create trillions of dollars in value for Bitcoin. That's what's up. Let's go. He explained that the Gold Shares ETF, GLD, was introduced November 18th in 2004, noting in the subsequent 8 years, the gold price quadrupled from 400 to 1800, adding 8 trillion in market cap, going from 2 trillion to 10 trillion. Whoa. I mean, numbers don't lie. Check out this chart right here by Gerber Gabax. The yellow line represents the spot gold prices in US dollars per troy ounce. The orange line represents the SPDR Gold Trust, and prices have been adjusted by a factor of 10. And the blue line represents the generic 10-year US Treasury rate. Now, the Vaneck director emphasized Bitcoin's market cap is 750 billion today, probably now north of 800 billion, less than 1/3 of what gold was in 2004. So in my view, upon the approval of a US spot Bitcoin ETF, Bitcoin's price trajectory could follow gold's blueprint from 2004 and the years after, just much faster. Amen. Continuing here, I also believe that only a few $10 billion will come from Bitcoin ETPs, which are exchange-traded products, adoption, and it won't come all at once. Nonetheless, Gerbax pointed out that the boost will be significant given a relatively low Bitcoin float and a systemic scarcity via the halving schedules. And in addition, he stressed that the ETF itself will legitimize and destigmatize Bitcoin's place in portfolios, leading to further adoption outside the ETF. The Vaneck director further predicts that nation states, let's go, and sovereign wealth funds, bring it, will hold their Bitcoin directly and secure optionality for mining and their own Bitcoin-based capital markets. He noted that central bank gold adoption outside the ETPs drove a good chunk of the gold price increase, but that the ETPs were quintessential to get comfortable with gold. And speaking of sovereign wealth funds and nation-state adoption, that's going to be our featured story of the day. That's going to likely usher in this 100K God candle, which we're going to be breaking down. Hello, I'm a bit late. What up, JV? Damn, I can't wait for that 100K candle. Can't we all? And speaking of that 100K candle, let's dive into our feature story of the day and discuss the $100,000 Bitcoin God candle, which is in play, according to one and only high priest of Bitcoin, Max Keiser. So here's a tweet he shared back on December 3rd. The God candle, a $100,000 uptick in Bitcoin, is in play. It will shift the global axis of wealth and power in one tick. And he continued, I have one word for you. $100,000 Bitcoin God candle fans, Qatar. The rumors are getting very loud on this. Their sovereign wealth fund is rumored to be looking to buy $500 billion BTC. Holy moly, that's $500 billion Bitcoin price purchase. Now, check this out. The Emir of Qatar met with Bukele. This was a few months back. It kind of went under the radar. He also updated to share more clarity from his source, quoting him here, Bitcoin makes our $500 billion sovereign wealth fund effectively worthless. We should just convert all of it into Bitcoin. Now, holy moly, now we're talking about not only nation state adoption, but sovereign wealth fund adoption, which is clearly a pretty big deal. He also made a lot of tweets regarding this God candle. On December 3rd, he wrote the 220,000 price target might seem aggressive, but there is a real chance to see a God candle of $100,000 in one tick. Christine Lagarde. A 100,000 God candle is in play, a 100,000 uptick in Bitcoin price. This will literally shock the world and the Bitcoin singularity will be upon us. He also tweeted that the Bitcoin price was lagging behind the rise in hash rate while competitors CZ and Binance was being targeted and then taken down at the behest of the large Wall Street players, aka BlackRock. The price rise is now catching up to the implied hash adjusted price of 375,000. And since then, he updated it because the hash rate broke out above 520 quintillion exahashes per second. So it's now suggesting the Bitcoin price should be above $400,000 per coin. You know what I mean? So yeah, very bullish tweets from him. He also shared these two are teaming up to make Larry Fink, BlackRock, and Saylor look like peanuts with a buy order of 1 million BTC and a $100,000 God candle. So now we know Michael Saylor's company, MicroStrategy, is looking to buy 1 million Bitcoin because they want to control 5% of the Bitcoin circulating supply. And now we have rumors coming from Saudi Arabia, you know what I mean, where the big money is at, the oil money. They're looking to buy 1 million Bitcoin. Well, you only got roughly 2 million Bitcoin even available on the exchanges, and how many of those are actually available for sale is a good question because the majority of the Bitcoin is in the hands of the long-term hodlers. So how are they even going to make this possible? So this is game theory playing out in real time. He also wrote 100% on December 28th. The Saudis will make Michael Saylor look like a peanut. A $500 billion buy order triggering a God candle is a done deal. And this was off the back of the big news that big oil money is entering Bitcoin. The 90-year-old Saudi Arabian Salafist cleric writes a fatwa deeming Bitcoin is permissible. You know what I mean? So now the Muslims, which is a population of over 2 billion people on this planet, now have the green light that they could invest into Bitcoin and that it is permissible. So the God candle is in play. He also made other tweets. Is a God candle to 100K possible for Bitcoin? There were articles actually published on this. He also wrote here, 220,000 in play. I've had this high target for 3 years because on any given day, we will see a 100,000 God candle. So let's freaking go. Now, other headlines, Qatar Sovereign Wealth Fund dives into Bitcoin with a potential 500 billion investment. Max Keiser expects Qatar to buy 500 billion worth of Bitcoin and dispelling Bitcoin speculation, separating fact from fiction in Qatar. So there you have it. Just a lot going on regarding this. So do you think Qatar will convert their sovereign wealth fund into Bitcoin? And again, they're sitting on $500 billion. Do you think Saudi Arabia, the largest oil company in the world out of Saudi Arabia. Let's discuss that as well. That just recently partnered with the largest bank of Japan, SBI Holdings, and they're looking to obviously get into digital assets. Do you think they're going to be making a major Bitcoin buy? Do you think they're going to be stacking 1 million Bitcoin? What's going to happen when you got the MicroStrategies of the world, the BlackRocks of the world, the Fidelities and the Abigail Johnsons of the world, Qatar, sovereign wealth fund adoption, nation state adoption, Islam adoption, all coming together to get their hands on Bitcoin with a very finite, limited supply right around the time of the Bitcoin halving, only 3 months out, and potentially getting the ETF approval this week or next week. Do you know how lit the crypto market is right now? Are you starting to understand? You know what I mean? This is unprecedented time. The time of this halving is unlike any of the previous halvings. Can we get a repeat or a deja vu moment from 2016 and 2017 where Bitcoin soared? I remember early 2017, Bitcoin was less than $1,000. By the end of the year, we were at almost $20,000. You know what I mean? So can Bitcoin do another 10, 20x this cycle? What are your thoughts, family?